Today, we're going to be talking about the Stroke Impact Scale, which is a patient-reported questionnaire designed to measure function, participation, and overall quality of life after a stroke. Unlike many assessments that focus solely on physical recovery, the Stroke Impact Scale, or SIS, takes a comprehensive approach evaluating aspects such as cognition, emotions, and social participation. The intended population for the SIS is individuals post-stroke, typically in a rehabilitation setting. It helps healthcare professionals track changes in a patient's condition over time and develop personalized treatment plans. So, the administration and scoring of the SIS, the method of use is a patient-reported questionnaire assessing multiple domains. It is conducted through structured interview or self-report. The supplies needed is just the questionnaire. And then for scoring, it's going to score 59 items across 8 domains. As you will see in this next video, I will be asking my patient questions from the questionnaire. In the interest of time, I only go through one of the sections, and then I'm going to speed up the video so that I can come back and give you some more information.
I'm going to be administering the Stroke Impact Scale with my patient Kenny here. All right, so the purpose of this questionnaire is to evaluate how stroke has impacted your health and life. We want to know from your own point of view how stroke has affected you. So I'm going to ask you questions about impairments and disabilities caused by your stroke, as well as how stroke has affected your quality of life. And then finally, I'm going to ask you to rate how much you think you've recovered from your stroke. All right. So the first section are going to be questions about the physical problems which may have occurred as a result from your stroke. So 5 is going to be that you have a lot of strength, and then 1 is going to be no strength at all, is the scale. In the past week, how would you rate the strength of your arm that was most affected by your stroke?
Repeat that.
How would you rate the strength of your arm that was most affected by your stroke?
Some strength. Right.
How would you rate the strength of the grip of your hand that was most affected by your stroke?
A low.
What about the leg that was most affected by your stroke?
Good. Quite a bit.
All right. So then, how would you rate the strength of your foot or ankle that was most affected? 5 would be a lot of strength, 4 quite a bit of strength, 3 some, 2 a little strength, and then 1 is no strength at all.
A low.
Okay.
So the test continues on and asks questions about memory and thinking, emotions, communication, mobility, hand function, ADLs and IADLs, and then participation/role function. One of the best things about the Stroke Impact Scale is its strong psychometric properties. Research has shown that the SIS has high reliability and validity, making it an evidence-based tool for stroke rehabilitation. The SIS has been validated in multiple studies showing consistent and reproducible results in tracking stroke recovery. The SIS is sensitive to change, meaning it can effectively track improvements or declines in function over time. And then the good news about the SIS is that it is free and available online. So it is available to everyone. At this point, you may be asking yourself, why should clinicians use the Stroke Impact Scale? Well, the SIS is one of the few assessments that captures the full impact of a stroke, not just the physical limitations, but also cognition, emotions, and social participation. It helps guide therapy goals by identifying areas where the patient is struggling the most. It provides a more patient-centered approach, ensuring that recovery plans align with the individual's actual needs and priorities. However, it is important to note that the SIS is not a diagnostic tool. It is used for monitoring progress rather than determining the presence of stroke-related impairments. All right, so now I'm just going to go over the results that I recorded with my patient during his questionnaire. So the first page of the questionnaire is going to explain the purpose, which is to evaluate how the stroke has impacted the patient's life. And it's going to ask them to rate each part. The first section is going to have the patient rate how they feel their strength is on the affected side. 5 being strong and 1 being not strong at all. So they're going to rate it between 1 to 5. And then the second portion is the memory and thinking part, which is going to rate in the last week how they felt they were able to remember things. 5 being not difficult at all, and 1 being extremely difficult. The next section looked at mood and emotions of the client. So, in the last week, how often did they feel sad or nervous or that life was worth living? 5 being none of the time, and 1 being all of the time. The fourth section is going to dive into the patient's ability to communicate. So the prompt is going to be in the last week, how difficult was it for you to, and then it's going to be something regarding communication and understanding and talking in a conversation. So, for example, like be able to reply to a question. 5 being not difficult at all, and then 1 being extremely difficult. The fifth section is going to look into activities that you do in a normal day. So, in the past 2 weeks now, how difficult was it to cut your food with a knife and fork, dress the top part of your body? So, it's going to look at a bunch of ADLs and IADLs, with 5 being no difficulty and then 1 being not being able to do it at all. All right, the sixth section is going to look at mobility in the home and the community. And looking at how difficult it was for the patient to get around, with 5 being not difficult and then 1 being extremely difficult or not being able to do it at all. And then the seventh section is going to look at the patient's ability to use the hand or the side that was affected. So in the past 2 weeks, how difficult it was for you to use the affected hand to carry objects, turn a doorknob, etc., with 5 being not difficult at all and 1 being not being able to do it. And in my example, my patient was unable to, or had a left-sided stroke, so the right side was impaired. The eighth section is going to ask the patient how the stroke has affected their ability to participate in activities that they usually do, or activities that they find meaningful and help give them purpose in life. So the prompt is, during the past 4 weeks, how much of the time have you been limited in? And then fill in the blank. So 5 is going to be no limitations, and 1 is going to be not being able to do it. All right, and then the last page of the questionnaire is going to ask the patient to rate how much they think they have recovered since having the stroke. Thank you to all of you who have joined me today and taking a look at the stroke impact scale. I hope that you are able to take something away from this.